These are all the moments when Peter probably should have walked out on Lois Griffin in Family Guy. Starting off with number 5. Lois takes infidelity to a whole new level by getting involved with Bill Clinton. In this unforgettable episode from Season 5, a rather notorious political figure rolls into Quahog for some questionable reasons. The news even covers it.
In other news, former President Bill Clinton was in town today to judge Quahog's annual Miss Cankle USA contest.
Now that's a cankle. Where does the calf fat end and the ankle fat begin?
But anyway, somehow Bill's limo breaks down right in front of the Griffin house, and his security asks Peter for a hand. In no time, Peter and Bill are acting like old friends, but Bill turns out to be kind of a bad influence.
We could eat that pig. What? Dude, come on. We could totally eat that pig.
Peter's all in, until thankfully, instead of eating the pig, they just steal it. That's a little better, right? So where does Lois come in? The next day, she finds Peter looking worse for wear and is fuming when she discovers he brought back a random pig. Upset, Lois heads to Bill's hotel to confront him about corrupting her lovable, clueless husband. Major mistake.
Wow, you certainly are very persuasive.
So I've been told.
Right when Lois realizes she's made a huge error, Peter walks in and catches her and Bill together in bed. He's stunned, though it takes him a second to realize what's happening. Lois chases after Peter and begs him to forgive her, even saying he can sleep with anyone he wants. Any guesses who he picks?
Babs.
My mother?
In the end, Lois has no choice but to let Peter live out his wild fantasy.
Peter, are you sure this is what you want?
Yeah, I'll see you at home.
But get this, he doesn't actually end up with Babs. Instead, somehow, Peter also gets seduced by Bill Clinton. Moving to number 4. Lois crosses a whole new line by hitting on Meg's boyfriend. I know what you're thinking. Meg has a boyfriend?
No, really, I have a boyfriend. His name is Anthony.
Peter and Lois are thrilled Meg found a decent guy. But things spiral fast when Anthony smooth talks Mrs. Griffin.
Has anybody ever told you you're pretty enough to be a movie star, Mrs. Griffin?
Lois is obviously flattered, but that little compliment gets to her head. Suddenly, she's veering into some seriously sketchy territory.
Oh my god, that's kind of hot.
She even starts fantasizing about him, and if you thought that was bad, just wait. Later, she decides to give Anthony a little gift, basically her
Your husband's work and poker game schedule?
My menstrual cycle's on there too, but I don't mind if you don't.
Lois clears Meg out of the house just so she can lay out her feelings to Anthony. Does he freak out? Not exactly. He's weirdly excited.
Wow, this is so cool. I've never had a MILF come on to me before.
Don't worry, Meg walks in right in the middle of this whole mess.
Mom, I forgot my keys. Do you know where?
Naturally, Meg flips out, and Lois does the walk of shame upstairs, hoping to patch things up with her daughter. Step 1 complete, but now she has to confess to Peter. And get this, Lois tells Peter that his actions make her feel old and unattractive, a pretty manipulative way to excuse trying to seduce your daughter's boyfriend. Instead of being angry, Peter apologizes for making her feel that way. Have some backbone, Peter. The only proper ending for this one starts with D and rhymes with divorce. For number 3, Lois completely loses it at the sight of a poker machine. It all starts when Chris has a rough time with the Boy Scouts. Honestly, putting Chris in the Boy Scouts was wild to begin with, but it's nowhere near Peter's worst idea. Peter gets a little obsessed. He even builds Chris a crazy boxcar for the soapbox derby, but of course things go south. Chris jumps the starting gun, his scout leader nearly bites the dust, and Chris gets kicked out of Scouts for being, well, Chris.
Don't take no for an answer, Chris. You're a Griffin, and a Griffin never knows when to stop.
So off they go to the Youth Scouts HQ in New York. Sounds simple, right? If only...
Peter, we're lost. Would you please find some place to ask for direction?
But Peter's not having it.
Yes, I'm a man.
Classic. Things go further off the rails when the car starts making strange noises.
What was that?
Nothing.
Peter, the car is making funny noises.
Turns out it's not the car. It's Peter, thanks to a prune smoothie before the trip. The only bathroom is in an Indian casino nearby. While Peter's busy, Lois has free time on her hands and spots a poker machine. For someone with impulse control issues, that's the worst combo. Just a few spins and Lois is completely hooked. Peter basically has to drag her away, but the worst is yet to come. She loses the family car because she couldn't walk away from the pokies. Peter has to pose as a Native American and go hungry in the forest overnight to get the car back. Miraculously, he pulls it off and the casino gives the car back. Honestly, it's a wonder their marriage survived this. Number 2 goes to Lois reading just one book about minimalism and immediately taking it way too far. This time, it's not her wild side getting her in trouble, but her all-or-nothing personality. After reading Trisha Takanoa's new book,
It's called Throw It Away, the life-improving art of decluttering. People nowadays own too much stuff. I am encouraging them to throw it away.
according to Trisha, people hold on to too much, and it's time to free yourself, unless the item brings you joy. Sure, that actually sounds reasonable, until you find out she made the whole thing up after meditating on some mountaintop epiphany. But of course, Lois is hooked on the idea. She wants to reach maximum joy, so she starts tossing everything.
You throwing me away?
Yes.
Peter, the kids, even the furniture out of the house and into storage. What's left? Just Lois, until she throws herself out too. Next day, the Griffins find an empty house and a vague note from Lois. She ends up falling into a barge full of trash and finally realizes the problem wasn't the clutter.
Garbage! I'm garbage! Everything's garbage and garbage is wonderful!
At least the family gets to come back home. And finally, at number 1, the time Lois had a complete breakdown on her birthday and ended up crushing on a teenage Justin Bieber. Because nothing screams midlife crisis like catching feelings for a pop star half your age. It all begins with Brian reminding Lois her birthday's around the corner. Lois seems down about it.
You know, it's funny. You keep so busy with your kids, time just seems to slip away, and then you turn around one day and you...
Okay, bye. Stop making noise.
Peter doesn't help, shutting her up in classic Peter fashion. Recognizing Lois's mood, Brian organizes a surprise party, which actually makes her happy, until Peter stands up and recites a poem about how old she's gotten. By the end, Lois is so upset she practically wants to walk into traffic. Instead of dumping Peter and moving on, Lois goes missing and shows up the next day looking 20 years younger. Well, not really, but she tries. Things go from bad to worse when she gets wind that Justin Bieber is in town. Suddenly, she's front row at his concert, shrieking like a teenage fan, on live TV no less. But it doesn't even stop there. Lois wrangles her way into Justin's green room by bribing security with ice cream and tries hitting on the kid. The whole encounter is cringy and almost illegal, ending with Lois saying, "Just get your pants off, hun." Luckily, or maybe not so luckily, Peter bursts in at just the right moment. After a messy heart-to-heart, Peter and Lois kiss and make up. But honestly, after all these wild moments, scandals, obsessions, crushes, and chaos, if I were Peter, I probably would have been out of that marriage ages ago.